Good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again, fresh off another bullshit 7-day suspension from YouTube. Apparently, once again, I had language that was inciting violence against a particular group. I don't know what that means. I don't incite violence. I don't tell people to go out and hurt people. So where they got that from, I don't know. But here I am, a reformed man. So I think that was my third time being suspended. So I guess third time really is a charm. I needed to create my own platform. So I've purchased a domain name and I'm looking for someone to build a website for me. So if you know, or if you are that person, drop me an email, jerichogreen2018@gmail.com. I just want something very professional looking, easy to navigate, live stream capabilities, things of that nature. But you know, please, serious inquiries only, very professional shit is what I'm looking for, because that's what I want to put out. That's what you guys deserve. So let me know. So yes, I'm back off my 7-day stretch and a lot of shit has gone down. I'm going to talk about a couple things today. I am going to talk about in a later video about the 12 and 14-year-olds who were running and gunning with the cops. Florida, shit. And of course, Fauci's emails. So you mean to tell me he lied? No shit. So anyway, today I want to talk about Guatemala Kamala. Oh, that woman is disgusting. The politician who went horizontal so her career could go vertical. She, the other day, made her way down to Guatemala to talk to the Guatemalan president. And she did not get the warm reception she may have been expecting, because there were protesters there who weren't having it. They had signs that said, Kamala, go home. Trump won. Mind your business. There was shit on there with pictures, Photoshop pictures of her with pregnant, saying she doesn't even have birth children, because I guess she has a stepdaughter or something, at least one or maybe more, but she does have a stepdaughter. And so they're giving her all kinds of shit. They don't want her there. Mind your business. I agree with that. We shouldn't be down there meddling in their affairs. Guess what, Kamala? You don't have to. You don't even have to be there. This immigration czar bullshit that you are shouldn't even exist. The problem was solved. And what the hell is a czar? And I don't like that word because it sounds too USSR. No, that's not how we roll. We don't need to be borrowing titles from other people. We got plenty. She already has a title. She's called the vice president. But she's the border czar, I think is what they call her. And so I was like, what the hell is a czar? A czar, of course, was a position appointed by Russian dictators back in the day. But to us, it means someone appointed by the government who is to advise and coordinate policy in a particular area. So this area is the southern border, because Guatemala and all that shit is further south and not at our border. So that's not where you should be, dummy. So she's down there talking to the Guatemalan president. He does not agree with her. He blames Joe Biden for the problem they're having. He said as soon as Biden announced his, we're gonna reconnect the children with the families. Yeah, we're gonna put the families back together because they were being ripped from their mother's arms, even though most of them weren't even their actual parents. Yeah, monkeys don't wear jeans. So as soon as that dummy got out there talking about, we're going to reunite the kids, we're going to end the Remain in Mexico policy, day one, the Guatemalan president said that the cartels were going around rounding up kids to pose as the children of people who wanted to get across the border. He said they went around rounding up kids. These are drug cartels. You've seen the videos. You know what these people are capable of. Do you think they went door to door like, Buenos dias, señora. Necesito a tu hijo, por favor. You think they said that? You think they said, good morning. We would like to have your child, your son or your daughter, please, if it's okay. Holding their hats in their hands with their sad eyebrows. You think that's what they were doing? No, these are drug cartels. And I'm sure when that president of Guatemala says they went around rounding up kids, that's exactly what they did at a very high cost. So when these kids get here, they got to work that money off. So what you're doing, essentially, you jackass, and this goes for Bidenus Pervertus, our grandpa in chief, and our border czar, who still hasn't been to the border. So technically, Kamala, you haven't reported to work yet. You're the border czar, not the Guatemala czar, not the Mexico czar, which that's where she's headed next, to Mexico. You're the border czar, so get your czar ass to the border. That's where the work is. If your house is on fire, the fire department's not going to show up to the neighbor's house across the street. They're not having the fire issues. You are. So they're probably going to show up to your house. Not Kamala. Not the border czar. She still hasn't been to the border. She still hasn't reported for work. But he blamed Biden for this. Of course. You pulled the plugs out of the hole. They had the holes plugged. You pulled the plugs out. Just like in boot camp. I don't know if they still do this, but when I was in boot camp, you had to do DC training, damage control, because when you're out in the ocean, this many hundreds of miles away from land, this many tens of miles or hundreds of miles away from other ships, if something happens, you're it. You're the fire department. So they had this simulation, this mock ship built, and they also did it with the fire training. They had like this mock helicopter frame with these pipes in it that blew out flames. It was pretty tight. Anyway, they had this mock ship with these huge holes in the ship to simulate some kind of puncture. And they had water spraying out, coming out so fast, that shit would knock you over if you weren't ready. It was pouring in. And if the water got above your knees, that means you failed and you drowned. So you had to take various various tools to plug these holes. Wedges. Sometimes there were actual things where you would put it under somewhere and you'd use this thing to crank it almost like a car jack to hold a wedge in place or to brace something. And you had to do this quick. Well, it was already done. Trump already did it. Biden comes through, ripping the damn plugs out, allowing the water to flood in and drown us all. And what you're doing is continuing and enhancing human trafficking, you jackass. This is a jackpot. This is the golden ticket for these cartels. And you're giving them more power. You're giving them more fodder. Are you serious? You're not, like I said, you're not even supposed to be there. Was that Paul Reiser? Yeah, what did Paul Reiser say in Beverly Hills Cop? I think it was Beverly Hills Cop 2, where he was in Foley's office covering for him on the phone. And the captain comes in, and he's Inspector Todd. He comes in, and Paul Reiser sits up and says, "This is not my office." Kamala, guy. That's not your office. You're not supposed to be there. You're the border czar, you idiot. Like I said, she's headed to Mexico next. So the job of a czar is to coordinate policy. So why don't you show up and coordinate? That doesn't mean you're not to go down there and see what they want to do, czar. You're not to go down there and say, hey, how do you guys want to handle this, czar? You are going down there to coordinate. Roll your sleeves up. Hey, Guatemala, check your drug cartels. Do what you have to do. Stem the flow of illegals coming up here. Mexico, shut your mouth. We give you almost $500 million a year. Take that, build facilities, because we're going to go ahead and reenact the stay in Mexico policy. Coordinate. Not show up down there and get shouted out and laughed at and told by that president, your boss is an idiot. He's right. But again, you shouldn't even be there. something else that shouldn't be. So there's some Democrat who wants the Federal Crash Test Bureau, whoever does the federal crash tests, wants them to have female crash test dummies. They say that females are 17% more likely to die in a crash than a man. They say the average dummy is like 5'9". So that puts women at a disadvantage when it comes to safety in a vehicle. Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not because the Federal Crash Test Bureau or whatever is anti-woman and hates ladies. I'm sure there's a scientific reason, probably because there are more male drivers. And I've seen crash test dummies of different sizes. How do you think they test out car seats, booster seats? They're not going to put a 5'9" dummy in a car seat. And what does that even mean? Female crash test dummies. Do these dummies have a gender? Do they have a sex? Do the crash test dummies have dicks? Because how else do you determine whether it's a male or a female? Do these crash test dummies have penises? And if they do, are they the same size? Is it a standard size? Does your dick have something to do with the way you absorbed impact? And if they do have dicks, they're big ones or they're small ones? You see how ridiculous it is? And I saw reports going back to like 2019. So this isn't new, but the problem is attaching it to this gender bullshit, attaching it to this equality bullshit. We have equality of opportunity, and that's all that we need. We don't need equality of outcome. That is bad. That kills creativity. It kills individuality. We can't have that. What does that even mean? A female... Does it matter? It just matters the size of the crash test dummy. And really, I think the crash test industry is ahead of the curve. Because how do you know that all those crash test dummies are male? Maybe some of them are transgender crash test dummies that identify as women, but they're still in their male frames, their male bodies. So maybe some of those crash test dummies, maybe they are female because that's how they identify. So it looks to me like the crash test industry is actually ahead of the game. Apology accepted. What in the fuck is a male or female crash test dummy? Do they take those commercials seriously? What were the crash test dummies' name? Was it Vincent and somebody else? I used to love those crash test dummy commercials. You can learn a lot from a dummy. Buckle your safety belt. Those dudes are hella funny. And I guarantee you if they did that shit now, one of them would be gay or transgender or both. One of them would be a dummy of color. What? What is a male or female crash test dummy? And just a little side note, Washington, D.C. is violent as hell. You think the gender of a rubber dummy would be toward the bottom of your to-do list. You would think that would be at the bottom of your honey-do list when your district, your area, your city, or whatever D.C. is violent. There are murders, robberies, assaults, but you're up there banging the gavel for the gender of a lifeless piece of rubber. Man, we need a good famine or something to get us back on track, because this is what our elected officials are talking about. How is the wagon of wokeness supposed to get to the top of the hill when they keep attaching all these little bullshit trailers to it? Now you're attaching the gender of a crash test dummy to the equality woke train. How are you going to make it over the hill? Pretty soon, you're going to have so many things attached to you that you can't move. Hopefully, you will die. Because this Voltroning their different causes together is going to be too much. What did Johnny Depp's character tell Benicio del Toro's character in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? You took too much, man. You took too much. This is too much. What? Females are underrepresented in the crash dummy industry. Say that out loud and see how stupid it sounds. Man, let me get the hell up out of here and go spend time with my beautiful wife and kids. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell because every time it rings, a piece of shit lefty cries. Get your Jericho Green notification tone. Link in the description box. Utilize the PayPal link and the Teespring link to get your green gear. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.